a junior student from Art and Science College in Ohio State University. LGBTQ have been a hot topic for a while since the J.K. Rowling event. Today I'm going to talk about LGBTQ rights, and this is my overview of my speech. First, does anyone know what is LGBTQ? Which letter stands for? Yes, LGBTQ is an abbreviation of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer. Next question. Anyone know the proportion of LGBTQ in total in the US? 25%, 10%, only 1%? No, it's about 4.3%. So it's a definite minority. Thus, as a minority, LGBTQ does not enjoy some fundamental rights as ordinary people. This is the main problem shows here. And the problem will be developed in three dimensions: marriage, employment, and safety. First, for the marriage problem, in 2015, a nationally sensational marriage dispute, Obergefell versus Hodges, also known as Obergefell versus Kasich in Ohio, was heard in Supreme Court. At that time, Justice Anthony Kennedy, which oversaw the case, declared the right to same-sex marriage is constitutionally guaranteed, and states may not legislate against it. However, someone has other opinions. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton allegedly called the court's decision a lawless ruling, and Mike Huckabee wrote that this flawed, failed decision is an out-of-control act of unconstitutional judicial tyranny. To this day, not all states and definitely not all courts view same-sex marriage as a settled issue. And you may see a conflict between those peoples, and we're gonna talk about it later. So, the situation is not changed after that case. The fact that the law hasn't been changed yet, and the Rubenfeld calls on more people to roll up their sleeves after same-sex marriage is legalized. And in the right picture shows that keep your dogma off my marriage. Okay, let's talk about employment. The LGBTQ employment still does not enjoy equal treatment within the general population in this regard, especially after the end of pandemic era. And currently, the CPS, the current population survey, current employment statistics programs not collect information about workers' SOGI. Thus, the LGBTQ workers may be unemployed or underemployed at higher rates compared with their non-LGBTQ peers, but absent in reliable data. In the plot showing left, only about 1 in 6 LGBTQ adults can be identified from US Census data. Among the few statistics, a report put by Human Rights Campaign, a national LGBTQ advocacy group based on 4,000 participants polled from April 16 to May 6, found that 70% of LGBTQ people had lost their jobs because of COVID-19, compared to 13% of general population. And this situation in Ohio is even worse than average of 50 states. You may see the picture on the right, and showing that Ohio State is below the average in the business climate score, which reflects the situation LGBTQ in their workplace. And what about the safety problem? Not surprisingly, LGBTQ community as a minority are not guaranteed as much as ordinary people in this aspect. And due to the National Crime Victimization Survey, and LGBTQ experience 71.1 victimizations per 1,000 people, compared to 19.2 per 1,000 people from non-LGBTQ people, which at a very, very higher rate. And there's also an example of anti-LGBTQ advertisements just beside the roads, and a plot of the highest victim rate among all of people of LGBTQ plus people. And in Ohio, the situation remains very serious. And you may see that in this picture, fewer LGBTQ plus people are covered by laws comparing to other states in Ohio. You see the orange here, and it indicates that existing hate crime laws does not cover sexual orientation or gender identity. How to solve the problem? We still need to focus on the three dimensions we just talked before: marriage, the employment, and safety. First, Ohio must embrace the national policy of having the same-sex marriage rights guaranteed as soon as possible. You may see that in previous case, the judicial says that the right to same-sex marriage is constitutionally guaranteed, and states may not legislate against it. So this must be put into action as soon as possible. And second one, and we must accept and encourage employment and even entrepreneurship for LGBTQ plus community. You see the business pride here. And also, we hope more international brands will pay attention to LGBTQ plus community, such as IKEA, the Kraft, the Heinz, the Hershey, the Giant Eagle, the PNC Bank above, and these are all friendly to LGBTQ plus people right now. And third, a call for more people to put aside stereotypes and reduce discrimination and violence against the LGBTQ plus community. We need to end the hate and the violence, and we need to find some safe place for LGBTQ plus community. Okay, so what are the barriers preventing us to reach that? Anyone knows? Stereotypes, the self-importance of some famous brands, or governments in inactions? Let's see. So first barrier, religious and social conservatives have also pushed states legally ban some same-sex marriage. Still, several religious beliefs that homosex is sin, just as the picture and the billboard shows below. And this is an important barrier. And another barrier, remember the conflict we just mentioned before? The factionalisms within the US government, such as those between Democrats and Republicans, just as the right pictures, is also a strong barrier. LGBTQ plus voters historically remain a solidly Democrat bloc. Therefore, under the Republican administration, the LGBTQ plus community must be a dire situation. Okay, so what's my conclusion of that problem and barriers? The conclusion: for the government, we must enact and enforce more laws to protect the LGBTQ plus community. And for business giants, we must put aside their own feelings of superiority to help more LGBTQ plus people. And for some conservatives and religious, put aside their stereotypes to live peacefully with the LGBTQ plus community. And this is my reference list, and thank you for all listening to my speech.